You're listening to BGR Pop Gospel Radio.
Keep it locked right here, y'all. Pop Gospel Radio. And we are the sound of the community. Get ready for Rachel Raquel. She's our host today for On the Set. Song entitled Usher the Spirit by the Pop Gospel DJ.
My joy, my heart, my peace, my world, my hope, my life, my love, my Lord, my Redeemer, there for me. In Jesus Christ I be. I'ma live my life holy, and Lord, I give you praise.
God bless every ear that hears and receives the sound of the community. Pop Gospel DJs. This portion of the show is sponsored by Bedloo. Let the world help you decide. Download the app today. That's Bedloo. BEDLOO.
You're my everything.
More new music.
Yes, you
Pop
are.
Gospel DJs. And if you like what you're hearing, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are the sound of the community. Right about now, it's time for On the Set.
Welcome to the Bob Gospel Radio Show. I am Rachel Raquel, and you are on the set. Today's guest is a very popular music composer. We're very honored and pleased to have her as our guest. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us where you're from?
Okay. Hi, my name is RIKA MURANAKA. I'm a composer. Most people know me as composing music for video games such as Metal Gear Solid, Series 1, 2, 3, 4, Silent Hill, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Those are the big AAA video game. And I have sold 44 million copies worldwide. It's just a video game and the other music that I've done for the record companies, the recording industry.
How long have you lived in LA?
Back and forth about 15 years.
Can we talk a little bit about where you grew up in your childhood?
My father's working for a Japanese company and he got transferred to Chicago. So we all end up coming over here in Chicago. That's where my musical career started.
How do you feel about growing up in Chicago?
Growing up in Chicago is great because there's so much music. People have no idea. Even now, there's so much music going on in Chicago. You get to meet so many people. It's great musicians, and a lot of people are from Chicago. You know, I had a chance to play with a lot of people in Chicago. You know, when I went there, I couldn't speak English, so my tool was to play piano or draw manga. Now everybody knows what manga is, anime. But at that time, people freak out. The kids like, oh my god, you know, they didn't know what manga is because I would draw like a Japanese style of manga. So they were looking at me like, oh my god, how do you draw that? You know, and that's how I became friends.
How did your music play a role in that? Did your music influence your friends as well?
At that time, I didn't know anything about playing pop music or jazz. I wanted to play jazz even when I was like 8 years old because my first record my dad got me was Glenn Miller Band and Tommy Dorsey and so on, and the big band. I was fascinated by jazz music, but I couldn't find a teacher in Japan. So until I went to Chicago and I told my mom I really wanted to learn how to play, jazz. Because all my life I've been playing Bach, Beethoven, Debussy, whatever, and it's like there's gotta be music more than just a Bach or Beethoven. And I know I'm in right place. I'm in Chicago, so I gotta be able to find a good jazz teacher. So my mom researched. At that time we didn't have an internet, so we had to ask everybody. And somehow she found a good jazz piano school in Chicago. So I would go there every weekend. I would take a bus. Every weekend I would go and take a lesson from this, Alan Swain studio. And they had the best jazz school for the private school.
What was your first deal? Can you tell us a little bit about your first deal?
Actually, before a record deal, the funny story I had to share with you. That's how I know how God is great. and I always wanted to play. And one day I got a call from my friend in Japan, Tokyo, and I came back after college, and I didn't know anybody. You know, I grew up in Chicago, so 13 years in Chicago made me more American than Japanese. So a lot of time people call me, it's like, oh, you're not Japanese, you're Americans. So I was really lonely, and the only thing I have is just music. I would just practice every day piano. And my friend came from New York, and he's like, hey, I'm in Tokyo, I'm playing this so-and-so club. Why don't you come and you know, sit in? So I went there, and I played one song, and that time, the guy who owns that club heard me play just the one song, not even 5 minutes. And he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing here? What do you do? I said, oh, right now, I'm about to work for Esquire magazine. And Esquire magazine? Yeah, they hired me. I'm like, really? Aren't you doing music? And yeah, but you know, you really can't make music, you know, you can't really make money in music in playing jazz in Japan. And he's like, really? I mean, I think you should make a record. And he and I start talking, just a 10-15 minutes, and this guy was drunk, so, and he had all girlfriends, you know, he had like 4 or 5 girls, and he was having, you know, a good time, he's partying. So I'm like, okay, this guy must be drunk, he just want to talk to me. And he didn't tell me he owned that club. He didn't tell me he owned the advertising company. He didn't tell me he owned the golf, you know, country club, to everything, you name it, he had everything. And he asked me, what do you want to do? If you had the money, would you like to make an album? I said, yeah, sure. And he asked me how much money you need. Oh, probably $150,000. You know, at that time, I wasn't even thinking. I just throw him out there because I knew he was drunk. So, I was just throwing it out there. He's like, okay, you know what? I'm going to have my secretary call you. I'm going to put the money in your bank account so you could go ahead and make your own record. I'm like, serious? No. He's gotta be joking. Next day, 9 o'clock, his secretary called me. What's your bank account? I'm like, what? Who's this? Oh, your friend that you met last night? He happened to be the president of the company, the advertising company. He also owned the publishing company. He also owned the music management company. I'm like, really? He didn't tell me that. I thought he was just a drunk guy. You know, and then she's like talking to me. No, he's really dead serious, and he want to give you a contract for 5 years. And he was gonna give me $1 million. I'm like, $1 million? What? No. Are you serious? I'm happy with the one album, okay? So she's like, okay, how much do you need? He suggested that I should put $150,000 in your bank account. So I'll need your bank account number. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay. So I gave it to her, and I thought, I didn't believe her. I got the money that day. I'm like, what? So with that money, so I wrote down this is the musician that I want to record with, since I knew everybody. And I ended up going to, at that time I hired Kevin Eubanks. That was a mistake. And even Kevin said that was a mistake. Kevin Eubanks. And it was a New York project. I went there in New York. I hired him, and I fired him in half an hour. I said, Kevin, thank you very much. I think I you know, and Buddy Williams, the greatest jazz drummer, told me, it's like, you know what, don't let him intimidate you. He's just jealous. Don't let him intimidate you, because what you want to do, I think you know what you want to do. I think you should do it. You don't need Kevin. You just need to do it on your own. You know how to produce. You know what you want. You know what you're hearing in your head, so you need to make that music. So when he told me, so I went to Chicago, and I met with a few of my friends that I knew at that time. Robert Irving was, I think he was MD for Miles Davis band. So he helped me put a band together for me. So I was able to record New York, Chicago, and LA. I had the 3 locations with $150,000. I hired everybody I wanted to hire, and the greatest engineer all time, Al Smith. I think he got about 8 Grammy by now. Okay, and so that was great. And with that, recorded everything, and I had everybody I wanted, from Peter Erskine, Hubert Laws, Kevin Eubanks, Freddie White. I had everybody. I had about 32 musicians on my first record. But with that music, then okay, I think I was too ahead, because I was trying to talk about label deal. I was trying to get label deal. I was like have my own I have my master 100% owned by me, and none of the record company in Japan understood that terminology of label deal. I just want a distribution deal. I got master. I pay everything. I have everything licensed clear. They didn't understand it, so they didn't want to give me a record deal. The guy I walked in, I called, and it took me like 3 years. We was shopping deal, and my manager at that time didn't know what the hell he was doing. He went everywhere, but and he couldn't. He would call me, and that was the most depressing time for me. And 3 years went by, and I said to myself, you know what? This guy is not gonna give me a record deal. I'm gonna take my own action, and I just had to pick up phone and call somebody and try to get me a record deal. So I picked up the phone and I called the record company. First record company I called was King Record Company, and the guy answered and said, "Hey, I got a demo tape. Would you like to listen? I need a deal." And he's like, "Okay." Me being American, you need to have somebody to refer you. But I didn't know. I didn't know, whole thing about the society. I didn't know anything because of that. I think it was good because if I knew what I had to do right now, I would probably never gonna call. I would never make that phone call because I'll be embarrassed to do that. But since I was young, I didn't know anything. So I called, and the guy's like, "Okay, why don't you come in the office tomorrow with a demo tape and let me listen to it." So he listened, and we talked 8 hours that day. And he said, "Okay, I'm gonna give you a record deal that day, same day." And I walked in and got the record deal, same day. And that guy actually is still my friends now.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break and we'll be right back.
You keep it locked right there on BGR, BopGospel Radio, Los Angeles, California, as we continue to be the new #1
Sound of the community.
BopGospel Radio.
Keep it locked right here on BopGospel Radio.
Listen, one goes with me, the other one you get rid of immediately.
Yes, sir.
Hey, and I mean bury it deep in the ground.
Yes, sir.
Goodness, I'm stuck. I can't make a decision over here.
Hey, boss, just use Bedloo, sir.
Bedloo,
Yeah, it's a new voting app to let your friends vote instantly to help you make a decision.
I ain't got no friends.
I mean associates, sir.
Yeah, well, let's go.
You can't borrow money from the mob and not pay it back.
I'll get you your money.
Hey, stop! The Don just posted a Bedloo. You gotta vote. You too.
All right, well, let's go.
Hey, the Don just posted a Bedloo. You gotta vote.
Wow, I've never dated a made man before.
Yo, the Don just posted a Bedloo. You gotta vote.
90%, sir.
Okay, leave the bud. Take the cannoli.